All right, buckle up, everybody, because we are diving into some seriously interesting stuff today. You know we love to tackle listener requests, and this one is a doozy. We got a request to take a deep dive into a CIA document, and not just any document.
This one is titled Analysis and Assessment of Gateway Process. It was declassified back in 2003.
Declassified in 2003, yeah. Apparently, the CIA was pretty interested in something called the Gateway Experience.
It's fascinating stuff. The document tries to explain some pretty far-out ideas, things like out-of-body experiences and traveling to other dimensions, and it tries to ground them in science, in a scientific way.
So, like, they're trying to figure out if there's a real basis for these abilities.
Exactly. Like, could psychology and physics actually explain these seemingly impossible things?
Okay, color me intrigued. Where do they even begin with something like that?
Well, the first thing they focus on is the idea of synchronizing the two hemispheres of the brain.
Okay, so, like, I vaguely remember from, I don't know, high school biology that the left and right sides of the brain do different things. But how does synchronizing them lead to, like, superpowers?
Well, think of it this way. Your left brain is like the super-organized, logical one. It's all about lists and facts and breaking things down step by step.
Like Spock from Star Trek?
Yeah, kind of.
Very left brain. Okay, got it.
Then you have the right brain, which is more intuitive and creative.
Yeah.
It sees the big picture, makes connections that the left brain might miss.
So is the idea that we need to quiet down that logical left brain to let the intuitive right brain take over?
That's what the document suggests. The Gateway Experience uses something called hemisync, which basically means using sound frequencies to sync up the brain.
Whoa, hold on. Sounds like music.
Kind of. It's more about specific frequencies that can actually synchronize the brainwave patterns in both hemispheres.
Okay, so I gotta ask, how can sound, like, unlock these abilities? It sounds kind of, I don't know, far-fetched.
I know, right? But that's where binaural beats come in.
Binaural beats?
Yeah, so imagine you're wearing headphones,
Okay.
and you hear a slightly different tone in each ear.
Different tone in each ear. Okay.
Your brain, because it's trying to figure out what's going on, actually creates a third beat. It's like a phantom frequency, the difference between the two tones you're hearing.
So our brains are creating their own music.
Sort of. That's the binaural beat.
Mm-hmm.
And that beat can influence our brainwave patterns. It's called the frequency following response.
Mm.
The document claims that with these binaural beats, the gateway experience can guide your brain into different states of consciousness, including those associated with some pretty incredible abilities.
I gotta admit, my mind is a little blown right now. This is some next level stuff. We're talking about using sound to, like, change your consciousness.
It gets even wilder. The document goes on to talk about the concept of a holographic universe, which connects to the whole altered states idea.
A holographic universe. Hold on. I feel like we're about to go full on sci-fi here. What is that?
Think about a hologram, like one of those 3D images. Even a tiny piece of a holographic plate has all the information to recreate the entire image, right?
Right.
The document suggests that maybe our reality is like that. What we experience as our 3D world could be a projection, like from a source that's, well, beyond our normal perception.
So you're saying that what we see and experience is just a projection of a much bigger, more complex reality, like we're all living in a hologram.
That's the idea. And the document claims that by achieving these altered states of consciousness, we can tap into that source, the universal hologram. It calls it the source of all information and energy in the universe.
Wow, that is some Matrix level stuff right there. Accessing the source code of reality. This is getting intense. All right, so we're talking about accessing the source code of reality, but how do we actually do that? Does the document get into specifics?
Yeah, it actually does. It outlines these different steps or stages in the gateway experience. The first one is called Focus 10, and that seems to be the foundation for everything else.
Focus 10. Okay, so what does that actually involve? Is it like a meditation or something?
It's like a combination of techniques. It mentions using those hemisync tapes with the binaural beats,
right,
but also breathing exercises, guided visualizations, all designed to get you into a state where your consciousness can separate from your physical body.
So they're like walking you through an out-of-body experience. I have to admit, I've always been curious about those. But what does the document say about what it feels like? How do you even know if you're having one?
Well, the document talks about some key sensations that people have reported. Some people experience vibrations throughout their body. Some feel a lightness, like they're floating. And some even report seeing their own body from outside of themselves.
Whoa, seeing your own body. That's wild. But, I mean, how could you ever prove something like that scientifically.
Yeah, you're right. It's a very subjective experience. The document even acknowledges that. But what's interesting is that these reports are consistent across different cultures and throughout history.
So even though it's hard to measure scientifically, the fact that people have been describing these experiences forever suggests there might be something to it.
That's one way to look at it. Now, Focus 10 is just the beginning. The document goes on to describe more advanced techniques that build on this foundation.
Oh, there's more. Okay, tell me about these advanced techniques. What kind of experiences do they claim to facilitate?
Well, there's Focus 12, which is supposed to expand your awareness beyond just the physical, like to encompass emotional and intellectual realms. And then there's Focus 15.
Okay.
That was particularly interesting. The document claims you can use this technique to travel into the past.
Wait, hold on. Time travel. How does that even fit into all this?
Remember the concept of the holographic universe?
Yeah.
Where past, present, and future all exist at the same time? The document suggests that if your consciousness is in the right state, you can tap into different points along that timeline.
So instead of time being a straight line, it's more like, a giant library. And you can access any moment.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Like accessing different files on a cosmic computer.
And Focus 15 gives you the ability to do that.
That's what the document claims. Of course, there's no concrete evidence for this. It's more theoretical, based on their understanding of consciousness and reality.
I mean, that's already pushing the boundaries of what most people consider possible.
Right.
But the document doesn't stop there, does it? You mentioned other techniques. What about this Focus 21?
Focus 21 is when things get really, really out there.
Oh, okay. Lay it on me.
The document claims that this technique lets you interact with other dimensions.
Other dimensions. Hold on. So we're not just talking about traveling through time now, but potentially like encountering other realities.
Yeah, that seems to be what they're suggesting, though it's understandably pretty vague on the specifics. They talk about non-corporeal energy forms.
Non-corporeal energy forms, okay.
Which seems to refer to beings that exist on a different vibrational frequency than us. Kind of like tuning your radio to a different station and picking up a whole new set of signals.
Wow. Okay, this is a lot to take in. We've got consciousness as energy, a holographic universe, time travel, other dimensions. It's like we're building a whole new picture of reality here.
It is pretty mind-blowing stuff.
But with all these incredible possibilities, does the document ever mention, any downsides? Like, are there risks to exploring these altered states?
You're right. That's an important question. And the document does touch on that.
Okay.
It cautions that exploring these states of consciousness can be, disorienting or even psychologically challenging for some people, especially if they're not prepared or guided properly.
I mean, that makes sense. It's like venturing into unfamiliar territory. You need a map, a compass, maybe even a guide to do it safely.
Right. They also warn against becoming too reliant on the gateway experience, like as an escape from everyday life. They really stress finding balance and integrating these experiences into your life in a healthy way.
So it's not about checking out of reality,
but
about gaining a deeper understanding of it.
Exactly. The document presents the gateway experience as a tool for personal growth and spiritual evolution.
It's funny. We've been talking about this whole idea of the absolute, this like ultimate source of creation.
Right.
Does the document connect that to the gateway experience in any way?
It does. It suggests that our individual consciousness is actually like a fragment of this absolute, separated for a time to experience the physical universe. And the ultimate goal, they say, is for that consciousness to return to the source. And when it does, it carries with it all the knowledge and experiences we gained while we were here.
So we're all on a journey back to this absolute, and the gateway experience can help us along the way.
That's the implication. It suggests that by exploring these altered states, you're not just having, interesting experiences, you're tapping into a much deeper truth about reality and your place in it.
Wow. This is pretty profound stuff.
It is.
We've gone from brainwave synchronization to holographic universes, time travel, other dimensions, even healing. It's amazing that it all stemmed from this one CIA document.
It really shows you how much we still don't know about consciousness and the nature of reality. This document just pushes us to consider possibilities that, most people don't even think about.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground. We've talked about like the theory behind the gateway experience, the techniques, the potential risks.
Right.
But now I'm curious about the practical stuff. Like, what can you actually do with these altered states? What does the document say about how you can use this stuff in real life?
Well, the document suggests some pretty amazing applications.
Oh, okay. Like what?
They talk about things like, enhancing creativity and problem solving, but they also go into things like remote viewing and even healing.
Wow, that's a pretty big range.
Yeah.
Let's start with something, I don't know, a little more down to earth. How could the gateway experience help with problem solving?
Well, the idea is that by reaching those altered states of consciousness, you can tap into the universal hologram, that vast information network we talked about.
Right.
So imagine being able to access information that's normally hidden from you.
Mhm.
You might start to see solutions to problems that you wouldn't have even considered before.
So it's like you're getting a bigger picture view of things, and that helps you solve problems in a new way.
Exactly. And that expanded awareness could also boost your creativity. Like imagine having access to a wellspring of inspiration that goes beyond your own limited experiences.
I mean, that would be pretty incredible. Artists, musicians, scientists, they could all benefit from that. But what about this remote viewing thing? I've heard that term before, but it always sounded a little, I don't know, spooky to me.
Yeah, it definitely has that kind of mysterious vibe to it.
Yeah.
The document describes it as the ability to gather information about a distant place or a distant event just by using your mind, like mentally projecting yourself to another location.
So it's like a mental satellite?
Yeah, kind of like that.
Okay, I gotta say, that's pretty wild. But it also kind of raises some ethical questions, right? Like, if you can access information anywhere, what about privacy?
You're right, that's definitely a concern. The document does acknowledge the ethical implications of these abilities. It stresses the importance of using these techniques responsibly.
Okay, well, that's good to know. It seems like every benefit of the gateway experience comes with a responsibility to use it wisely.
Definitely.
What about healing? Where does that fit in?
Well, remember, the document is based on the idea that everything is connected,
Yeah.
that we're all part of a universal energy field.
Yeah.
And if you can tap into that field through these altered states, well, the document suggests that you might be able to influence healing processes.
So something like energy healing, where you're channeling energy to promote well-being.
Yeah, you could think of it that way. The document doesn't really lay out specific techniques, but it definitely suggests that accessing that universal energy could have a healing effect on yourself or on others.
It's amazing to think about all the possibilities this document presents, you know?
Yeah.
But before we finish up, I think it's important to circle back to the potential downsides one more time.
Sure.
We've touched on the importance of using these abilities responsibly, but are there any other risks that the document highlights?
Well, they do mention that exploring these altered states can be, disorienting or even psychologically challenging for some people,
Right.
especially if they're not prepared or guided properly.
Right, it's like we were saying before, you don't want to go wandering into uncharted territory without a map or a compass.
Exactly. And they also caution against relying too heavily on the gateway experience, like using it as a way to escape from the challenges of everyday life. They emphasize the importance of finding that balance, integrating these experiences into your life in a healthy way.
So again, it's not about checking out a reality, but more about like deepening your understanding of it.
Right. The document ultimately presents the gateway experience as a tool for personal growth and spiritual evolution, not as an escape.
Well, we've covered a lot in this deep dive, from brainwave synchronization to holographic universes, time travel, other dimensions, even the potential for healing and remote viewing. And it's amazing to think this all started with a CIA document.
It's incredible, isn't it? This document really challenges us to expand our understanding of what's possible. It encourages us to question our assumptions about consciousness and reality.
It definitely does that. You know, it makes you wonder, what if they're right? What if sound frequencies can unlock these hidden abilities within us? What if our reality is just a holographic projection of something much grander?
Those are some big questions. And there's no easy answers. But that's the beauty of exploration, right? It's about pushing the boundaries of what we know, venturing into the unknown, and seeing what we discover along the way.
Absolutely. And who knows, maybe somewhere out there, someone's already unlocked those secrets. Maybe they're already exploring those other dimensions, traveling through time, using these abilities to make the world a better place.
It's a pretty amazing thought.
It is. And that's what we love about these deep dives. It's about opening our minds to the possibility, even the ones that seem impossible. So to all you deep divers out there, keep exploring, keep questioning, keep pushing the boundaries of what you believe is possible. Because who knows, maybe one day you'll be the one making those groundbreaking discoveries.
Yeah.